This is Dr. Uttara Pattanaik. I am a leadership and executive coach, a strategic leadership consultant, a mentor coach, and founder of Uttara Pattanaik Consulting Services. I'll let my partner, Ortal, introduce herself. Ortal?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you, Uttara, first of all, because for us it's a amazing opportunity that we spoke a lot about that, and I feel blessed that we are here together. I'm Ortal. I'm a specialist in conflict management. I live in Israel, and for the last 4 years before, I live in India. I am the founder of White Table. It's online and kit for conflict management, and today we are going to speak about leadership and conflict and vulnerability, and let's enjoy.
Thank you. So before we start, just a little introduction about how me and Ortal thought of doing this together. So definitely both of us are coaches. So coaching definitely brought us together. But this UPCS White Table collaboration emerged out of our passion to simplify leadership concepts and enable every individual to be the leader they wish to be. We are in a mission to redefine leadership and celebrate humanity, power of positive, and inclusivity. So today we are going to talk about redefining leadership. It's a huge topic. We have 90 minutes, and we are going to make an attempt to touch upon a few concepts and connect the dots as we move forward. So to start with, what is leadership? According to us, this is the definition of leadership we love the best, which is if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Is that something you guys like?
Maybe I will say something. So
sure.
Everyone can be a leader?
Well, let's talk about that. So who do you think, who can lead? Can I request people to put in their chat box, who do you think can lead? And
so
we
someone
again pause for 30 seconds.
Yeah, there is a message. Leadership means managing group of a team of members.
Okay.
This is one. So does it mean that only people that have a team? This is a question, right?
Anything else has come so far?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So that is definitely one. Yes, those who are managing team are a leader. But see, we are in the journey of redefining leadership, right? So we are going to move slightly out of the stereotype, and also is the time, where we are going to broaden the horizon of leadership. So this is what we feel, that leadership is not limited to a role, position, designation, or hierarchy. And leaders are not born, they are made. And they are made just like anything else, through hard work, commitment, and resilience. So leadership is actually an attitude, a state of being, a choice, a mindset, a journey, and a way of life. Have you ever seen like a small child who can't even walk is sitting in the middle, and there are several group of other child listening to that child? So that child, nobody is reporting to that person, but something about that child is allowing other people to listen to them or do things for him or her, So even at that age, they are demonstrating some level of leadership, that they are able to take people forward, making them do something, influencing them. So according to us, everyone can lead. There is a leader in each one of us. Only our style and approach may be different, but each one of us are a leader in our own space. Now, what does this picture tell you? Ortal?
Let's wait a couple of seconds. Feel free to say something, because we are, the purpose of here is, although we can't see you, I can read your message, and I think it will be more value for you when you will feel free to ask whatever it's coming to your mind.
All right. So we talked about definition.
Wait, somebody.
There is somebody. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So Anthony said, looking inside someone's brain or thoughts.
That's
Good,
right.
Anthony.
That's right. Yes. Thank you, Anthony. So we talked about the definition of leadership. We talked about who can lead, but we all know that leading others always begins with leading self. And that's why, this picture is looking inside us. We are looking inside. And in order to lead ourselves, we need to be self-aware so that we can better self-regulate. All right. So
Uttara?
Uttara?
Apma, I hope I pronounced your name well. She wrote, someone who blow light in someone's mind. And Deepali wrote, finding a way.
Yeah, you both are right, because this picture is actually talking about looking inside ourselves, in our own head. And that's why, we talked about that when we are talking about leading others, because when we say leadership, people always think you are leading somebody. But leading others always begin with leading self. If you can lead yourself, then only you can lead others. And to lead ourselves, we need to be self-aware so that we know what is inside us, what are our resources, so that we can better self-regulate. And I will be talking about what is self-awareness and what is self-regulation. And this process of leading ourselves, before we lead anybody else, just the process of leading ourselves is called self-leadership. Moving on.
Deepali add in introspection. So
introspection.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Introspection, looking inside, thinking inside, reflecting. Well done, Deepali. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. So one more picture. What does this picture tell you? So basically, this is a picture of, this is a mirror of our own self. So we are actually, because we are talking about self-leadership, we are talking about, this picture depicts that we are looking at ourselves, our inner resources. And that's why there is a very famous quote by Lao Tzu, which says, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. The reason is that if I understand myself a little better, then I am aware of what identity I wish to have, where I am today, where I aspire to be, and I can probably understand my focus area, and once I know my focus area in life, I can decide how I want to show up, what impact I wish to create as a leader, what legacy I want to leave behind, how I want to be perceived. And these goals will tell me what I need to learn, what I need to acquire, what I need to upgrade, what kind of skills I need to fine tune, which are the things I want to let go, what I need to make peace with. So this is this process of knowing my own resources so that I can decide how I want to utilize my resources is called self-awareness. The knowing process is called self-awareness. And the utilization of that process, how much more, how much less, when, which opportunity, which environment. This process is called self-regulation.
Yeah, and
Okay?
Uttara. So people wrote here, analyzing self, mirroring effect, mirroring
Yes.
ourself, and one more say, understand yourself before you understand other people. Okay, we can go home today.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
You
we
have
can
already
go.
said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we talk about that
Perfect.
a lot. Yeah.
All of you are dot correct.
Yeah.
So you guys said absolutely the same thing. And here we are talking about self-awareness, how a better self-awareness can lead to better self-regulation.
Yeah.
And
And
once
one
we are
more.
aware, yeah.
Sorry. And there is one more. Happy and better life start with oneself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you can look inside and you know who you are, then you know who you want to be, and once we have clarity about ourself, our resources, we are more focused, we know our goals, and then we just have to translate our goal to action, and then we are there. Now, why are we now? We are going to change gears a bit here. And so why are we talking about leadership, self-leadership, self-management, self-regulation? Why are we talking about that? So we are going to change the gears a little bit and talk a little bit about future of leadership. So this is in World Economic Forum. These are the top 10 skills of 2025. And so the way to read this particular slide is that in the left, you will see that there are colors which talks about the type of skill set. So there are 4 type of skill set: problem solving, self-management, working with people, and technology use and development. And if you notice, that the 2 in dark blue, technology use, monitoring and control, and technology design and program, if we leave these 2, the remaining 8 are problem solving, self-management, and working with people, which are actually leadership skill set. And also, if you notice that while we talk so much about knowledge and learning and degrees and things like that, there is no mention of that in this top 10 skills, while there is mention of active learning and learning strategies. And why is that? Because information is continuously evolving. And so we all need to be going forward. If we want to remain relevant, we all need to be curious and continuously learn. And we need to have a strategies how we can continuously evolve and gather knowledge. So knowledge still remains important, but like what I studied in my university may get obsolete or has already been obsolete. So if I want to be an expert in a certain area, then I need to continuously upgrade my knowledge. Now, what
Uttara,
I want to...
Sorry for disturbing. Can you, Dipali said that the slide is a little bit blur and you can see it clearly. So only to emphasize what is important for you, for us to say about that. So
okay,
if you can repeat
it. Sure. So
Thank
I'll just for your thanks, Ortal. So what I want to take your attention into, if you can just see look at the blue colors. So there are 5 blue colors, which are the skills which are most important in top 10 skills. Are 5 of them are problem solving skills. There is one which talks about leadership and social influence. It's a huge topic, and that comes into working with people. And also there is a green which talks about active learning and learning strategies, and also resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility, which is again on self-management. And that's why why I wanted to show you this slide, because the self-management is going to be very, very important going forward, both from knowing your own resources, knowing, managing your own leadership. It's also the other skill set which is required. You cannot do that unless you can manage yourself well, because if you notice, all of these skill sets are very layered. There are multiple facets of this skill set. What is mentioned, in order to do that, there are many other skills that one has to acquire, many other leadership skills, which is not mentioned here, but are going to be very, very important. For example, if you talk about problem solving, to solve a problem, first you have to identify a problem. In order to identify a problem, you have to understand what you know and what you don't know, and if you to admit that you do not know, you also have to be comfortable with ambiguity, your vulnerability. So the point that I'm trying to make is the layered, um, the skill set that is mentioned about. There are many other leadership skills which are important but are not mentioned here. And in today's presentation, me and Ortal are going to touch upon two very important leadership skill set, which is called vulnerability and conflict management, which is important for, other than the technology two topics, in all of them. Without vulnerability and conflict management, you will probably not be able to achieve all the leadership skills 100%. So moving forward, we are going to just analyze a little bit the leadership skill set, and a few terminology nowadays, we hear quite a bit. IQ, which is intelligent quotient, EQ, which is emotional quotient, and AQ, which is adaptive quotient. So we are just going to, because we hear, and there's a lot more emphasis on this moving forward, the leadership capability that one needs to acquire in order to remain relevant in the upcoming ever evolving world. So we will break it down a bit and understand what these skill sets are all about. So first is intelligent quotient. I'm sure all of you are familiar with it, because we all talk about, IQ is so important. So in today's VUCA world, and I will just explain what I'm sure all of you know, V is volatile, U is uncertain, C is complex, and A is ambiguous. So today's world is called VUCA because it's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And in this world, the technology redefines how we are going to work, and the skills that we need is continuously evolving. However, the performance which is required is actually what? So the knowledge here we are describing as what? The next, EQ, is actually broadly characterized as a set of interpersonal self-awareness, self-regulation, and communication skills. EQ is now widely seen as a toolkit, which plays a very important role in multiple aspects of life. And I have written here why and how, because whenever we are trying to do something, how we are doing that is actually the EQ. Say, for example, right now I'm talking to you. So talking is the what, and while talking, I'm also being authentic, I'm being perceptive, I'm being observant, I'm being meticulous. So the being is actually the EQ. So that's why I put why and how. Why is actually the purpose, And the next one is adaptive intelligence. Adaptive intelligence is a subjective set of qualities, which is basically the ability to adapt and flourish in an environment of fast and frequent change. And all of us know that in what speed the world is evolving every day. And both EQ and AQ are nowadays talked lot more than IQ, because in today's world where information is on your fingertip, Nobody wants you to memorize thing and retain thing. They just want you to know where to find the information. That's why I always say that education gives you clarity of thought, but education beyond that, it's not finished. You continuously have to learn, and more you learn, more knowledge you acquire, more you absorb, you will have more clarity, and you can decide what and how and when you want to do what you want to do. So in today's world, people are saying that EQ and AQ has superseded the IQ. Not that the value of knowledge has decreased. No, but it has to be a continuous process. And I also wanted to further define emotional intelligence, because when we say emotional intelligence, people think that it is about emotions. Little bit, but that's not the correct definition. Emotional intelligence actually stands on 5 parameters or 5 pillars. It's self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills. And if I can take your attention, if you saw that self-management is one of the top skills required in the coming world, and also leadership and social influence was another very important skill. And that comes from EQ. See, social skills, empathy, motivation. So self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and motivation, and social skill is the outcome. Okay. Now, moving on to adaptive intelligence,
Uttara,
because this is, yeah.
I think, Dipali, I hope I understand your question. Dipali, I will repeat it, and if I didn't understand, please correct me. So Dipali asked adversity quotient, and then
adaptive.
Yeah.
Okay, adversity quotient. Yes, go ahead.
And then she asked, I think, if it's the same like adaptive quotient. So, okay, I think I understand you. So she asked, is it the same or it's different?
So adaptive intelligence is the capability to adapt. And many times people also use AQ as adversity quotient, because the adaptation is required when there is adverse situation, where there is ambiguity, when the world is continuously changing. It's the world of unknown. So the comfort of people with unknown, so if we kind of understand, if we trust ourselves and say that I may not know everything under the sun, but I know my ability and I can learn quickly, because learning here is a transferable skill. So that's why many people also use the word adversity quotient, and it is not exactly adaptive intelligence, but it's a part of adaptive intelligence.
Yeah.
Because you will only adapt when it is not normal situation. No, you have to adapt in some different situation, change, and adversity could be one of the situations.
Yeah.
So that's why adversity quotient is also used sometime for adaptive quotient.
Thank you. I think it was a good point, because she added
yes,
adaptive and adversity quotient. One is with adaptively, and other is with difficult situations. So this is her points of view.
Yes. And Dipali,
yes, please.
Let me just finish this, Ortal, and I'll take the second question.
Yeah.
So Dipali, to your answer, adaptive intelligence or adaptive quotient is a much broader. It can have adverse situation. It may not be adverse, but it can be a new situation also, which doesn't have to be adverse, So when we say adaptive, it is something which is not your comfort zone. It's a different situation where you adapt. And in order to adapt, you need resilience. You need to believe in yourself. You need to be comfortable with vulnerability. You need certain skill set to survive in a new environment. So let me just talk about what I was talking about, adaptive intelligence, and your topic will also come in that. So adaptive intelligence is so it says that IQ, intelligence quotient, is a minimum you need to get a job. But AQ is how you will be successful over the period of time, because you'll have to survive with the changing times. You have got a job, but after that, how will you survive? Because for what you have got, that may not be what you are doing. They will, as the company grows and the time grows, they will be do different things. So you have to continuously learn and adapt. So that's why it says that AQ is how you will be successful over a period of time. And this is a very nice quote that I like, which is the vice president of Goldman Sachs had once said that AQ is not just the capacity to absorb new information. Because many times people think that it is just, gathering new information, being comfortable with that. So they say AQ is not just the capacity to absorb new information, but the ability to work out what is relevant, to unlearn obsolete knowledge, overcome challenges, and to make a conscious effort to change. AQ involves flexibility, curiosity, courage, resilience, conflict management, and problem solving skills too. So I specifically wanted to read this particular quote because I just talked about when I showed you the top 10 skills and I said how they are layered, remember, and see about, their problem solving. The 5 of the skill set are only around problem solving. And most of those skill set, you have to have high adaptive intelligence in order to demonstrate those skill set. You have to have the capability to learn, also unlearn, because when you have to learn a new thing, you have to unlearn what you know and then move forward with the new learning. So this particular quote of adaptive intelligence actually very nicely summarizes the different aspects what adaptive intelligence talks about. And Dipali, to your question, like for example, when it talks about courage, resilience, these are the skills you need when the situation is adverse. So those are certain elements that has to be in higher proportion when you are in a adverse situation.
Okay, we have 2 questions more from Mamta.
Sure.
So leadership and development is nowadays a much talk about domain. What are the key elements of this? This is one question.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is, does it mean challenging situation also?
Okay. So who has asked the question for leadership development?
Both, Mamta.
Okay, Mamta. Very nice question. I wish I could give you a answer like that. The leadership development is a subject by itself, and everything that we are talking falls in the domains of leadership development. So how you develop yourself to move forward, to remain relevant, to inspire people, to take people along. All of these elements are leadership element. And we will be soon, if you just hold your query, we will be soon talking about how the definition of leadership has moved from just, leading team, autocratic leadership, or business leadership, how it is slowly moving to a very different definition that previously was looked at as a weakness. So to summarize everything that we talked about, the very first definition that I showed about leadership, the topic is, the point that everybody can lead. Then when we are talking about self-leadership, the emotional quotient, the adaptive quotient, and putting lesser importance on IQ, not IQ is the only thing important. We are not saying that. We are talking about IQ is important, but along with that, emotional intelligence and adaptive intelligence in leadership is also very, very important. And all of this are actually, if you notice carefully, everything we are discussed in last few minutes are little different than the historical leadership concepts. And in today's world, if we see, there is a substantial shift in leadership style. And the style that is widely accepted are either human leadership or generative leadership or collaborative leadership or being leadership. All of this where the person has to be more human, more the softer leadership qualities or a heart level connection that previously was considered as a weakness, where people talked about, oh, you are emotional, oh, this is very feminine, you are being very soft, you can't survive. Those skill sets are nowadays are talked about as transformative leadership capabilities, you know. So so moving forward, we are going to just touch upon, because the time is very limited, we're just going to touch upon human leadership, which is all of this, generative leadership, collaborative leadership, being leadership, all are human leadership. And that actually stands on three key capabilities: authenticity, empathy, and adaptive. I have already talked about the adaptive um, intelligence capability. Authenticity is something, is a, the integrity or authenticity and the trustworthiness, or, being transparent, is something that is becoming hugely popular these days. Everybody is wanting their leader to be authentic. And I think for years and for generations, everybody always wanted authentic leaders. It's just that now, previously, we probably did not create so much noise around it. And now we are creating noise around it because the time has changed and the focus has changed. And if you look at the picture, see the leader walking, and the circles are actually the complex problems. And so the leader being authentic accepts that the problems are increasing, and I may not have a solution for everything, but we will, there is an acceptance of problems, underlying problems. There is no hiding of it. So that's why, I put that picture. Empathy. You notice that there is a huge emphasis on social influence, and to take people along, to touch people, to inspire them, to motivate them, to encourage them. Empathy is one of the most important criteria of emotional intelligence. So here, authenticity, a part of emotional intelligence, which is empathy, and also you have to continuously adapt yourself in order to be a leader. And that's why it says that to become a leader, you first have to be a good human being. And I think this is self-explanatory. I don't have to explain. I would now, with this background, I again want to show you the future of leadership, and just want to take your attention that if you see the first, analytical thinking and innovation is the first one, and it's a problem-solving skill set. It is a part where it's a skill set under adaptive intelligence. Then comes active learning and learning strategies. And it is, again, you have to be authentic in order to know what you know and what you don't know. And then being curious and also comfortable with not knowing. Also, you are being vulnerable here, So just wanted to show that the three things that I showed about authentic, empathetic, and adaptive, see the reflection of them in the top 10 skills that's talked about. Complex problem solving. Again, it is part of adaptive intelligence, because if you are adapting and you are moving forward, you have to resolve lots of things that you do not know. And there, conflict management, which Ortal will be soon speaking about, is a very, very important criteria. Then come critical thinking and analysis, which is again part of adaptive intelligence. Creativity, originality, and initiative, part of problem solving skills, a very important part of adaptive intelligence. Then leadership and social influence, both are standing on IQ, EQ, and AQ. It's a huge thing, but it's all three has aspects together makes leadership and social influence. And then the green one, resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility. Again, part of adaptive intelligence. And the last one, reasoning, problem solving, ideation. Again, part of adaptive intelligence. And also, you also need the IQ knowledge, and also you need self-awareness and using that information. So it's a mix of both EQ and AQ. So the purpose, I wanted to show you this slide again to summarize how what we talked about are the most important ingredient of the top skills which is required by World Economic Forum. It's stated as top 25 skill set. Now,
Uttara,
yeah,
can I interrupt you?
sure.
So Dipali is asking a question, and I think it will, if you want to wait a little bit and then to go further, it's a fine,
Sure.
but that you will have in your mind. We are moving increasingly complex and interconnect world. Being leader, what change needs to be done? Also, which old leadership skills will survive?
Just the slide set, which is there, Dipali.
Yeah.
They are talking about, this is the World Economic Forum has already stated which are the top 10 skills will survive in the complex world. And the point, so this list, is, maybe I can share this list with Anthony and you can share it with everybody. And it's also, in internet, if you just type top 10 skills of 2025, you will find this. It's very easy to find under World Economic Forum report. So all the skills. But what also we are trying to talk about today is that these skill sets has many prerequisites, which is not mentioned here, like vulnerability, like conflict management. Conflict management is an integral part of any problem solving. And there are 5 of the skill set out of 10, 5 are focused on problem solving. Resilience, again, you need vulnerability.
She got the answer, I think, from you,
Yeah?
Uttara,
Okay.
because she got it.
All right. Okay. Now, we have too much of information. Now I'm going to pause, and I'm just going to, before we talk about vulnerability, I want to ask a question that share a time in your leadership journey where you felt vulnerable. And when I say leadership journey, you guys know that we are not talking about leading teams only. Even if somebody is a mother and you are raising your child, there you are playing the role of a leader. Somebody is helping somebody, resolving an issue, any kind of journey where you felt vulnerable. So I'm just going to stop for a couple of seconds and please write down your experience of vulnerability. Just in few words.
Let's give them a couple of seconds that they will have.
Sure.
It can be in one sentence, a moment with someone, connect to a situation that you felt that you are very vulnerable. Uttara, maybe you can continue, and then the moment that
Okay.
you will jump.
All right. So that's okay, if you can't think of anything right now. But vulnerability is in leadership is very, very important. And that's why it says great leaders show their vulnerability. And when we say vulnerability in leadership is the ability to admit what you do know, but also what you don't know. and then trusting those that you manage to fill the void. So just because anybody is a leader, we do not have to know everything. But when we admit, when we can identify what we do not know, then we know what we need to know. And also to admit that to our team, we need courage. And that's why, I always say that um, it one has to be fearless. In order to be vulnerable, one needs to be self-aware, authentic, fearless, and forward looking. Then only you can be vulnerable, and only secured leaders can be vulnerable. Because if you are insecure, then you will be too worried about how I'm going to be perceived, what will people think. But if you believe in yourself, you know that, so what, I don't know, now that I know that I don't know, I will figure out how to know that, or I will find out who knows this already. So vulnerability in leadership is actually linked with authenticity. If you remember the human leadership, authenticity was one of the key criteria. And this comes under authenticity, the courage to be authentic. And that is a fundamental characteristic that builds trust in the organization. And that is
Wow.
why.
You want to hear what they are writing here?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. I think we got it. And thank you very much. I think it's not we're feeling blessed that you are sharing your feelings here. So I will read some of them, okay?
Sure.
So when I was not able to balance, this is a time that feeling vulnerable. We are willing to take a hit, but sometimes we need to take that with stead. Yeah, I think I pronounced it well. There was a time when my organization faced a crisis without having any leader. Became directionless. Sometimes being kind to yourself becomes difficult for me. Thank you very much. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing this. Anybody else?
It's wonderful.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
yeah, and I think it's the way that they can feel that what you wrote here in the chat. This is one of the biggest steps to say that, oh, I'm not perfect, and this is who I am, and this is something that I feel, and this is a good, when we spoke about leadership, so it's a good start. Thank you.
Absolutely. The moment you know that you are not perfect and you realize that, which means that you know that you have the potential to do better, that is from where your growth journey starts, and thank you so much for sharing this. I'm actually having goosebumps hearing your story. And this pandemic, this pandemic last 2-3 years, the whole world has gone through so much of vulnerability. But look at us, we have all bounced back, and we are still bouncing back. We are in that journey. We may not be perfect, but we know that together we will reach there where we deserve to. And that is why this is one of the Simon Sinek quote I really love, says that a leader first and foremost is human. Only when we have the strength to show our vulnerability can we truly lead. And when a leader shows vulnerability, when the leader admits their vulnerability, they become part of the team. Then they are one of the entire team. They belong to the team that point of time. And this is a fundamental character of building a team, trust, and also ownership, belongingness. So that's a huge quality, to have the courage to be vulnerable. The other one, this came up in an article, vulnerability is the cardinal virtue of leadership. If you are not vulnerable, you are not leading. And vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. That is the beginning of your journey of growth. And I will pause here and I will let Ortal talk about the other, um, very, very crucial leadership quality, which is conflict management, that all of us, day in and day out, face it. And Ortal is going to, she's a conflict management expert, and she is going to take us through the different layers of conflict management and how we do not have to run away from conflict. We can resolve conflict easily. So Ortal, over to your shine on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And feel free, I can see the chat, but if I can't see well, please feel free to disturb me and to say whatever you feel like. Okay?
Sure. I have stopped sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I will share my screen now. Okay. Can you see?
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah. Great. So, one of the connections that we will speak now is about how to connect vulnerability to conflict and leadership to conflict management. And I like very much the definition of unraveling conflict. I think the moment that we understand how to unravel conflict, it's much more easy. And I'm sure that everyone here has at least 1, 2, 3, 4 conflicts during your day. And first of all, let's understand, what does it mean, conflict? So often it's a situation that we have a disagreement with someone. It can be connected to something very simple, and it can be something very big. People, this morning I had a meeting in the morning and with some ladies, and she asked me, so what does it mean, conflict? It's conflict with the children? Is it conflict with couples? Is it conflict at work? So conflict is what we will speak today, and we choose 2 or 3 components to emphasize that you will have as a tools to start with, okay? And conflict, when we speak about conflict, what I will share now with you, connect to every subject, because interest is interest, and aspiration is aspirations, and a strategy is a strategy, and active listening is active listening. So it doesn't matter with whom and what is the story. What is important is the skills and the technique that we need to use during our days. Okay? I will say something about these characters that you see here. So I create, when I live in India for 4 years, and it was before 7 months I came back to Israel. So I moved there for relocation for the best 4 years in my life, only that you will know. And I was thinking, how can I reach to more people with this subject that people don't like to speak about, conflicts in their life? And I create with my very good friend in Bal, and she drew these characters, and their name is Sim and Ample. Why? Because I think and believe that to resolve conflict is something very simple. And I know that it's unlogical what I'm saying, how conflict connect to something simple, but it can, because we are making it very complicated. And what we will speak today, we will do it more simple. Okay, so let's start. And feel free to ask whatever you feel like on your mind. So my invitation for you, please think about conflict that you had this morning with someone or yesterday night, okay? And ask yourself, when you think about the person, and it can be something that connects to a person or something that you have conflict. So our conversation can be in both ways. Usually when I have conflict with someone, usually I have something inside me that I'm not sure about that. So conflict can be something that I have conflict with 2 values, for example, and I can have conflict with someone else. So it's both sides, it's both ways. Okay, so I need to understand what does it mean, what is happening to me, and what is happening to me with other person. So please think and ask yourself, when you think about this person or about the situation, where do you feel in your body when you have conflict? Okay, and you can write yourself. You can write in the chat. I feel it here. I feel it there.
So Ortal Dipali is saying that I laughed out remembering the situation.
I'm happy that you laughed out and not crying out. So it's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Why I'm asking, where do we feel it in our body? Can you think what is the reason that I ask this question? Why we need to speak about our body when we speak about conflicts?
You can write in chat box.
Yeah. Because maybe for a moment, for a movement, we give lots of attention to unnecessary details. Okay. And our body give us it's a symptom. So something is going outside there, and my body is giving me signs that maybe instead of directly react, I need to observe a little bit what's going on, and then I will figure it out how to react. Okay, but usually, I don't know, I know that in Israel it's like that usually people like somebody says something and directly they react, right? There is no filters. When we ask where do we feel it in our body, inside our body, or what place, it's give us a little bit time to observe what's going on. Okay, so this is something that this is first steps. Understand there is a conflict, you see something, you feel something, there is something in you can feel it,
your head,
your heart, your hands. Suddenly you start to sweat, right? Your heartbeat is going fast, your knees is shaking. So this is a sign that something is going on and we need to pay attention for it. The second thing, yeah, you want to say something?
Mamta is saying I felt more cohesive. Our team emerged.
Okay, good, thank you. And after I understand where I feel it, then let's speak about perspective. When we speak about conflict, you see the shapes, the round shape. So one see it in blue and one see it in green. We are different people. We have different experience. We feel differently. Our parents educate us in a different way. We have different experience. So I never find in my life that different people think the same, feel the same, and act the same. And if I know that me and Uttara, although they are very similar way of thinking, the way that we think each other, we think about things, we are not the same. Our perspective is different, and sometimes this is 50% of the way that we can start to unravel our conflict. The understanding that me and you are not the same, and I can't convince you to think like me. Yes.
Ortal, there is Morris has responded to the earlier question, where you feel. So she says that I feel conflict in my head when my department teammates don't speak in front of visitors who come to our textile department.
Wow. It's I have another question. When you feel it, then what is the first thing that you want to do?
Morris, if you can type down, what is the first thing you want to do?
So the first steps is to recognize that we are in conflict, that there is a situation that we don't agree with someone or with ourselves. The second step is where to ask a question of where I feel it in my body. So it will give you a clue, right? That something is not working for you, right? And the third step or level is to understand that that we see things in a different way. For example, you think that you want to speak and you want to share something and with the visitors, and your department asks you not to speak with them, right? So before you start to convince them, first of all, you understand that you see different things. Okay, so I hope I answer your question. I want to speak with you about a skills that I think, from my opinion, without these skills, we can't unravel in conflict. And the skill is called active listening. So I will explain it for a couple of minutes, and I promise to you that it takes endless life to be in that position, to bring yourself to a very high level of active listening. So this drawing, and I will explain it from the left to the right, so we have 3 levels of active listening, okay? The first level is when we put our hands here and we are waiting that people will stop speaking, that we will start to share what we think. Most of us are waiting to talk. We don't have time. Time is money, and we don't have it, and we want to give the solution, and directly we are all waiting that somebody will stop talking. This is called autobiographical listening. And I want to tell you that most of us are there, although I want to ask from you, don't be there. So where to go? So if Dipali, I remember that you asked what we need to what is the new thing that we need to do as a leaders is to listen. This is one of the best skills that we can do it with the children, with our employees, with our bosses, with our friends, the ability to listen. The second one, and this is the second level that I want that we will go there, is called accurate listening. So instead of listening, way that you will stop talking and I will start, and it's very important. I want to tell you that sometimes we want that you will stop talking only because I have the right solution for you, and then I lead you, but you don't agree with me because you are not in the same space and same level that I am there. So accurate listening is I repeat what I'm hearing. So if I understand you well, you are talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Or if I say something wrong, you will correct me. In that way, I can understand the story is not about me. It's about me listening to you. So, for example, Mauricia, I hope I pronounce your name well. Maurice. So instead of asking you not to speak with your visitor, maybe you can ask them. So what is important for you is that the visitor will come, I will not speak in front of them. And maybe you will understand more, you will get more information, what is the reason that they don't want.
Ortal, if I can just clarify, I think she said that she feels a conflict in her head when the visitors comes and her teammates do not speak. She is the only one speaking. So that's what she's saying, that when I feel like tell them to speak to the visitor, like she expects that her teammates should also speak to the visitor because she's the only one speaking.
Okay.
Did I understand you correctly, Maurice? If you can just write yes or no, maybe I did not understand.
Okay. And I think we will give you a a way how to handle it in a couple of minutes. If we understand you, if otherwise, please feel free to correct us.
Yeah, please.
So the third level is empathy listening.
Ortal, before you go to empathy,
Yeah.
Betsy has written, I feel conflict in my head when my teammates are not listening to volunteer in my department when teachers is there in the class with us. And Dipali saying that she feels conflict, lack of support from team. Acha, Dipali is explaining the question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we will do now, I will give you we will speak about 3 components that will help you how to communicate what you are feeling. Okay. So first of all, to understand the level of listening, and it's very important. Okay. So we don't want to stay in the autobiographical. Autobiographical, it means that I am listening to you and I judge what you are saying, if it's wrong or if it's right, if it's okay or not, if it's good or bad. And sometimes it's because I really want to help you. So we don't want to stay there. We want to go to the accurate listening. And accurate listening is to frame what you heard from the other one. Okay, so if I hear you well, this is what is disturbing you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the third level is the empathy listening. Empathy listening is I am going inside your shoes. It doesn't say that I agree with you. It says only that I can see, try to see, listen, feel what's going on with you. It doesn't mean that I will do whatever you will ask, only to recognize what's going on. Okay, so this is the 3 level. And usually asking question is coming between the 2nd level and the 3rd level. Okay, because if we start with the question, with questioning others, so it's like an investigation. So we would like, first of all, to framing, and then asking question, and then say what is important. So level 3 will speak about it's important for you that other teams will speak with the visitor. Yes, good. Because you can collaborate. Yes, good. Okay, so this is one example. I would like to share with you, so we spoke about Brené Brown before when we spoke about vulnerability. And Brené Brown, she's amazing researcher that research shame, vulnerability. And I love her work a lot because I think it's very easy to understand and it can speak to any heart and people and people to understand what she is saying. So I will share with you, please let me know that you can hear the voice. She created a short video and explained the difference between sympathy and empathy. So sympathy is more than 1st level, the autobiographical listening, and empathy is the 3rd level, the empathic listening, active listening. Okay. So I will share with you. I hope that you can hear it. If not, please write in the chat, and we will do something about that. But I think you will hear it. Okay. So let's see. Uttara, you will tell me if you can hear it, so I will know that it's okay.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, I'm down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Great. So Maurice, sorry that we said it. You are she, you are he. So thank you very much for correcting us. Thank you. Remember.
Mamta is saying something, Ortal. Listening needs a lots of patience also, which these days gradually becoming a rare attribute, be it in family, social, organization setup. How to deal with this?
Okay. So you're right. And we think we don't have a lot of patience. So what we will speak now about the two more components will help you to what listening. Because listening is not giving to someone to speak endlessly. Listening is, first of all, to put your attention, to put your heart, and to ask yourself if you can do it. We can't do it every time. If my daughter now wants to speak with me, she can't go in and I will speak with her because I'm in the middle run. I'm working now. I can't, right? So what to do? Two things before I'm going to the aspiration is, thank you, Mamta. Only that you know, Brené Brown, she's amazing. She has a lot of beautiful interview. Her web is wonderful. She has an amazing podcast, Connect to Leadership and Vulnerability. So go there and find, and I can write her name that it will be easy for you to find her. Two things that it's very important to get your patient and to listen is, first of all, authenticity. We can't listen if it's not the right time for us to listen. And curiosity. If these two conditions are not there, we can't find patient. We can't find the patient to listen to others. And so I hope I answered your question. And if you don't have time and you don't have patience, don't listen. Say, please, not now. Come later. One more day, 2 hours, 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and I will be with you. If you can't do it, don't do it. Don't fake it. We can't fake it. We can't fake active listening. And authenticity. We can't fake it, right? So when we listen, and I'm thinking always what to speak. To speak, first of all, about aspiration and interest or active listening. And today I decided I will speak firstly about active listening. Why? Because when I know how to listen in the right way, I know to what listen. And two more components it's important is aspiration. So I called to my kit, to all the program I call it white table. Why? Because I believe that we can put everything on our table. We can share our feelings. We can share our emotion. We can share our thing that it's not working for us, to put it on the table, on the white table, and we can color it with every color that we want. The only thing that is important is how to do it. So first steps is to understand that we have different perspectives. So this is something that we understand before. This is not the only thing that we have different. We think differently and feel differently and act differently. The second component is aspiration. Aspiration is a result that we want to achieve, and usually it's beyond the table and it's parallel. So, for example, I want to get that they will raise my salary for example, $100, okay? And my manager wants to give me only $2, okay? If we will stay only in that level, $2 or $100, we will never reach and resolve our conflict. But we need to understand that people measure us, right? Measure not us, but measure our aspiration. So we need to understand what is our aspiration. And aspiration, it means that it's a result, it can be stance, it can be outcome, it can be something that I want to achieve and I can measure it. Okay? So, and we have different aspiration and we have more than one aspiration. This is not enough. We need to go beyond under the table and to understand the interest. Most of us don't like to speak about our interest. Our interest is our values. So I want 100 shekels because I want quality life. I want confident life. I want to enjoy my life. So it's my values that I want to live through them and to bring more values, this kind of values to my life and to others. So there is my values and there is your values. And imagine, instead of speaking about only aspiration, we will speak about our values that connect this aspiration. And the moment that we can share our aspiration, our interest, we can bring more solution to our conflict. If we speak only about our aspiration, it's dead end. If we speak about values, we can have different values for different aspiration. And the most important is to figure out where is the meeting point. What we want to put on the table that is we can start with. So if I want stability and you want independent, but it's okay for you to feel stability too. So let's speak about stability and how we create our stability. So if collaboration is important for us, and for me it's important to have freedom, it's fine. I can have both of them, right? So understand the aspiration and understand what is under the table, and then where is our meeting point. It's a good start. So when we listen to people, we don't listen only. We need to understand what is beyond that. So when somebody say, I want it, like the example, the Dipali, I think Dipali or Mamta, you said, I don't remember exactly who said it. I wanted other people will speak to the visitor. This is aspiration. Why it's important? Maurice. Why it's important for you that they will speak. This is the moment I will understand that, for example, you want to collaborate, you want to share the burden, I don't know, you want to have equality, then you can unravel in your conflict. please feel free to ask questions. I hope it's not too much. So we spoke about conflict. We spoke about perspective. We spoke about aspiration and interest. And it's not the same. People think sometimes that inspiration and interest is the same. It's not the same. It's so different. And we need to understand first of all, what is the trigger that we don't agree about?
Mamta has asked us an interesting question. She's saying that is agree to disagree an amicable way to handle conflict?
Yes, of course. I don't need to agree with you about everything, but if we understand that we have a project together or we need to work together, and I'm not saying that we need to love each other. Of course, if I love you and I respect you, it's wonderful. Relationship is not only connect to love. No, I can create relationship with people that I don't like. But there is something bigger than that. We need to work together. It's not we didn't choose to work together, but we need to work together. So how we managing the situation and respect that we are different. And it's good that we are like that. Okay? Okay, good. So, Uttara, you want to say something more?
Okay. So moving forward, Ortal, I can't see that. Yeah. So okay. We all know, we talked about multiple things. We talked about leadership, what is leadership, who can lead, the different aspects of leadership. We talked about self-awareness, self-regulation, what is, what are the different leadership components which are coming up. And we also talked about the prerequisites of this leadership skill set, like vulnerability and conflict management, which will enable you to demonstrate the leadership skill set, which is much required in this world. Now, with everything that you have heard, we know that whatever you focus, that expands. Anything that you focus will expand. So as as you get out of this session, we would like you to request 2 things to think about. What will you focus on? What is your takeaway from this session? What will you focus on? And what do you choose to expand in your life? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Most welcome, Mamta. And so feel free to share with us what is your takeoff. And you don't need to remember everything. First of all, take something from what we are saying and bring it to your life. And, if you only find it patient or to understand the aspiration, to bring a little bit of vulnerability to our life and to understand what does it mean interest, you're in a good start. Okay.
So we have 5 minutes, a little more than 5 minutes, actually 6 minutes. So if anybody has any question, then we'll be happy to answer.
Yeah. Good. Until then, I want to say thank you. It was a good experience for us, right, Uttara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for all the people that was writing, asking questions. For me, it's a challenge that I can't see you, only that you will know. I like to see faces and I like to hear voices. So for me, it's a little bit challenge only to read. I hope that you got something from here. And yes, and thank you, Uttara, like always.
Thank you.
Here is our email, and if you need something or you want that we will give you a reference for things that we share with you, feel free. Okay.
Okay.
So,
All right. I hope, we are really thrilled to talk to you, and thank you very much for taking the time out to listen to us and sit through the presentation. Me and Ortal are really obliged and really grateful for that. And if you guys have any question that you may not have right now, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to email you with answer.